I don't know about that last
not about
but
that.
we're definitely here with a good
top 8.
I'm
done with that. I'm sorry, but we're going to be here with a wonderful top 8 for you. We got T2's very own Odyssey going up against Mr. E in New York Classic. Both of these guys right here. Maybe not the most classic-y of New York Classics because we don't see the patented Fox coming out from Odyssey right now, but we do see the new Tri-State patented Palutena.
Yeah,
this is the Tri-State character.
This is a character that's found its home almost exclusively in Tri-State. If you try to look for other results with Palutena, it's going to be few and far between outside of what we have. We saw earlier on stream Odyssey and Jen, who were bringing the heat with this character. They went to dinner the whole way through. But now we get to see someone who has had quite a bit of time to figure out the counterplay to Palutena and has had at least one battle with each of the Tri-State Palutenas. Mystery having a decent track record against the character. It's a matter about how well he could space around and how well he responds at the ledge.
Yeah, Mystery, of course, one of the best players in New York and one of the best players in Tri-State in general. And since so many people are playing this character, if there's really any player who's going to be able to adapt to, like, you know, dealing with all these different Palutenas, it's definitely him. It's like, you sort of equate it to Hungry Box in, like, Melee. Not to talk about another wonderful Melee top 8 again, as Odyssey takes the first stock 3-2. You think about Hungry Box and, like, how he has to fight so many different foxes. So many different types of foxes, because they are, like, all the top, like, foxes, they all play so different. And Palutena, you know, you see so many people who play this character, Nairo, DeBuzz, Odyssey, Ralphie's, like, working on Palutena as well. Jen, of course, at the forefront of them because he's been playing mainly the character since about
but we
day
don't care
one.
about Palutena's here. Egan finally tied things up. Sitting at 52%, but that's honestly not that bad of a deficit. Part of this matchup is accepting that you're going to see a lot of 2 or 3-piece combos that are going to put down impressive numbers, but if the Palutena cannot lock down positioning, you're not going to be able to confirm that kill, and that's where a lot of the problems with Palutena start to get exposed. If she's not able to get any fancy edge guards or land a smash attack, it becomes much more difficult for how she's going to end out a stock, and letting those percentages climb is not something that you want to do against Marth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Palutena is just an absolutely wonderful character in this game, but you can hear from many sources that one of the sort of bugaboos of the character, if you would, isn't necessarily swords, as that LP shield, was that it doesn't matter, as the LP is going to be able to take the stock. It's good sword characters who really do this number, and many people, many good players as well, say that some of her worst matchups rank among Cloud and Crom. Oh, and he just runs off and does it to be able to take that stock. You know, sometimes you just... The higher the level to play you go, you might think, okay, scrub options aren't necessarily going to work, but one of the key differences between these players and the rest of us who play these games is knowing when to go for the scrub option, knowing when your opponent is not going to expect it.
Hey, listen, at this stage of the game, what have you got to lose?
Exactly.
It's either you win or you lose, so you might as well go for all of those fresh options, the things that might not work, that might not get called out. Like, who's going to expect a dare like that? Nonetheless, Adi takes the lead out of it, but he's got to maintain this ledge if he wants to end out game 1 in his favor. Trying to read an aerial option, it's not going to work. Still able to put on a couple of hits here and there.
Going for the hard read right there, and then unfortunately missing, putting a side B right there. I can't imagine what he was going for right there, because if he tried the side B in the other direction, I don't think he would have been able to get an explosive flame close enough. And even if Mr. E was expecting it, he would have been able to react to it, because it actually is one of the most visually reactable moves in this game, or at least among the top tiers at the very least. So I don't exactly know what he was going for right there, but he's going to eat a lot of damage for it, but it's not going to matter. He's going to be able to find his way off to the other side of the stage, getting hit underneath Smashville. He's good old Smashville, tiny enough to be able to not take out these stocks earlier than you would think. Odyssey barely not surviving, as what I was going to say. And Mr. E is going to go up 1 game in this set.
All right, now seeing where Game 2 is going to take us, my expectation is to Pokemon Stadium 2, potentially the run back. Because Smashville has proven time and time. Again, this isn't a bad stage for Palutena, but you might want to take the stage away from Mr. E. It's a stage where he can control space very well, very confidently. Even when he was in disadvantage, we saw that E didn't really struggle too much with fighting back against Adi.
Yeah, I couldn't have even really said it better myself. I mean, Palutena, as far as, you know, like, bad stages go, she really doesn't have too many. One can argue that Smashville, like, can affect her zoning game just a little bit, even though Palutena at her core isn't really so much of a zoner, more so as she's just a close-range footsie character. But if there's any stage that could be considered bad for Palutena, it would probably be Unova. But Unova is not in the play right here. Instead, we are running it off to Town and City. One of the major changes of this brand new, of this stage is that it has the highest vertical blast zones of all the legal stages we play, as opposed to in former old games that we don't play anymore, it being the lowest. So Town and City is a counterpick stage for people who want to be able to live a little longer. Or in the case of Odyssey, I can see him probably picking the stage because he feels like just he himself is going to wind up living a little longer, because even if you get like juggled or hit by Palutena's up air on the stage, that blast zone might not matter depending on how much rage you have, or even if like, you know, you're at a relatively high percent. It might have the highest vertical ceiling, but that up air is just too fast, too strong, too furious, really, to not be able to take out those stocks. So
and
that's my theory for Odyssey.
Platforms and lack thereof are going to have a decent enough impact on this match, because it's going to control a lot of where Mr. E can reposition himself. I feel like a lot of what Game 1 went into was just how well he was able to control the ledge, control center stage, control the platform. It was very set in stone where he wanted to have his battles as well. So Adi didn't really have anywhere safe to run away, but whereas here, the platform layouts are going to be changing. There's a lot of space to survive, as you already brought up. So having a little bit more variety to that, it's going to give Adi a lot more opportunity to fight back against E. And it's what's allowing him to control the momentum of the match right now. But a wayward dash attack is going to end out that stock for Adi.
Absolutely. It's going to give Odyssey a little more space when he needs to. There's a little more space. He wants to run away, do these explosive flames, do these neutral beats. As you're seeing right now, he's already using that move a lot more in this game too, as we're seeing, because Smashville, Palutena doesn't really have too much room to be able to play that, safer zoning or camping game if she really has to. She just doesn't really have those opportunities. And Mr. E, of course, playing Marth, a classic Smash character, as we all know about him, he does not have any projectiles. What he lacks in that, he makes up for in range. But that range is not going to matter so much when you are playing a top tier like Palutena, who has two of the most interesting and arguably best projectiles in the game. One of them, of course, an explosive flame. Odyssey now has much more space to be able to do that, and you already see him making pretty good usage of it. Still sitting at about a 60% differential in his favor already in this game, too. Already looking a lot better for him, but now he's starting to get juggled just a little bit. This is one of Palutena's slight faults as a character, is that she's not the worst at it, but she's also not really the best at landing either, especially against, just long, disjointed up airs like, Marth has. So, Mr. E is definitely making it a little harder for him to get down as that forward tilt takes the stock.
It's a matter about finding those landings, and Adi's been doing a really good job of finding where to place himself on the stage. He's also timing a lot of his shield play really well. We just saw the parry from there so he can escape, get himself a little bit more room to breathe. But on multiple occasions, we're seeing Adi react to shield play, and he has not once been able to punish this. Normally, he will threaten with throws of his own. We'll see him punish with shield breaker. But those opportunities have not presented themselves right now, and Adi's playing fantastically in this game, too.
Yeah, you see that movement he has on the platform. He actually already, I believe he wave landed on it once or twice, just making great usage of these, of the new opportunities that Town and City has given him. And I actually really like your point about is that back air is going to be able to take the stock. I actually really like your point about him using the shield in those very unique and clutch ways, because he actually got hit with a neutral beat on his shield, and he didn't just finish shielding it. He actually parried it as that F smash is going to be able to take the stock right there. Odyssey evening the set count out 1-1. He actually clutched it out because he was holding shield, and Mr. E recognizing that, going for the shield breaker right there, and he didn't just like his shield wasn't big enough to the point where he could have held it and his shield wouldn't have broken, but he parried to get out of it, which is just wonderful usage of the new mechanics in this game to be able to survive, and it's gonna prove enough for Odyssey to be able to take that second game.
It's one of those situations where like parrying is not 100% the best option. There are some situations where your character's not going to be able to find their punish out of the parry. They might even like lose out the situation because they parried. But in parrying shield breaker, you're always going to find yourself an advantage just because it has that lag when it hits the shields. Now, finding ourselves in game 3, as you mentioned, tie count. We're going into Battlefield here. This is going to be a really good stage just for minimizing where Adi's going to be able to run away. Not as much base platform lane. And even though the triplats are available for Adi to try and move himself around, it's going to be a bit more difficult if he's not able to control center stage.
I feel like that is one very common misconception among low-level players, is that they feel like, oh, like I'll be able to land more easily on Battlefield because now I have all these platforms as an option to be able to land. But depending on the matchup, the platforms actually limit characters certain landings because it allows you to be able to control space a lot easier because your opponent is going to be able to predict where you're going to land a lot easier. And when you have a very long sword like Mr. E has on his patented Marth character, you're gonna wind up seeing those options covered a lot easier. Palutena does have those movement options on this stage, but I'm not quite sure if they're going to matter, but I don't know if they're going to matter for Mr. E, almost getting gimped there by the hit of that, but mashing the absolute heck out of that up B right there. He's going to be able to make it back.
Explosive Flame is going to force the jump, but Adi does not follow it up. All of these back throws, it's going to end up stealing that option eventually. Meanwhile, he keeps on bringing himself back for more.
Yeah, this is some immaculate DI coming out from this player right there. He should have been dead 3 times over. Just DIing away, not able to get the final tip of that last move. That definitely would have killed Odyssey right there, but the parry into the up tilt right there, and now he's got Odyssey in the air exactly where he wants him. This is why he took him to this stage. You saw him, he actually struggled to land right there, and he was actually had to force himself back down into the corner to even be able to make it back onto the stage at all. The up throw not going to be able to do it just yet.
I like it though. It was a really nice DI mix-up that we saw from Adi, and even though Adi wasn't able to get the kill out of it, it just shows that he has this proactive thinking while approaching E. Sees that even though E's moving a lot more, his positioning, his hitbox is a lot more confidently, and he's being very aware about how to fight his own Palutena. You still got to keep those tricks up your sleeve. Dash attack's going to tie up the stock count, but Adi's trying to keep himself mobile here.
And I don't know how mobile this Palutena is really going to be. I don't know if Odyssey is aiming or planning to main this character, or if he just feels like this as a secondary would be better than Fox. I will admit, I don't exactly know what his plan is. But one thing that we do not see him really utilizing are any warp cancels off of the platforms right here. That is one wonderful option that specifically Palutena has on these on stages with platforms, especially tri-plat stages like these, is in that she can cancel her up B and into any aerial or another up B into a jump. Just basically she can ledge cancel into any other option she wants, and we're not exactly seeing Odyssey make too much usage of that. I'm not quite sure if that's just because the situation hasn't come up yet, or if that's, you know, just not something he's really implemented into his game plan yet. But so far, he doesn't seem to be doing it too much or making usage of that. And Mr. E, his counter pick looks out to be working pretty good for him so far, but just as I say that, he is launched off the stage, but he will be able to make it back.
And Adi a little fast on the trigger there while trying to cover options from E. Gave E the opportunity to return high. That's one of the things you got to be careful for as a player. As you condition your opponent into certain situations, don't show your hand too quickly with how you're going to respond, because in any other situation, Adi would have been there ready and waiting for the high recovery, which Palutena is able to punish in droves, but we're not going to see it just yet. Once again, Dolphin Slash going to be the get-off me tool for E as he controls the ledge, tries to stick a little bit more to this lead that he has, so tries to pull it up on the count. Once again, for best of 5 here in top 8.
Yes, though whichever one of these two remarkable players wins this match will have to win another one against their opponent if they want to advance further on into the winners bracket, into winners finals of this incredibly stacked first ever Forge monthly here that we have going on for you. And Mr. E, so far so good, really trying his best to force his advantage. His DI is still immaculate on this stage, but no amount of DI is going to help you with that up air right there. That's going to kill at 160 no matter what stage that you're on. Odyssey trying to even this game out, and now just only a very slight deficit between these two players right now. Just one airstring should even this game out for Odyssey right here. He's able to get a down throw, tries to land a falling there right there to start it up, but instead he winds up getting up aired for his troubles instead, and just getting hit by those up air jungles. He was going to eat all that damage, but now he's got Mr. E off stage, exactly where he wants him, trying to get a ledge trap. Not able to get too much off of that. Mr. E just waiting patiently by the ledge, not pressing a button like Odyssey wanted him to, and just timing it just right to get that invincibility frames exactly where he needed them, and the forward tilt, even with the tip, not doing it yet.
Excellent DI from Odyssey is going to keep him alive. You can see just how much both of these guys want it right now. The tension in this play. And the ledge play has been really good for both of these players so far. E doing a great job of trying to cover the ledge. He's going to be able to do it there, right there. We've also seen Odyssey been able to play around that often. I feel like he's just getting a bit too antsy with his own punishes, and it's because of that. Game 3 slipped away from Adi slowly but surely.
Yeah, the counter pick also working to his advantage right there. It gets a little, against a Marth like Mr. E, it can be a little hard to keep your composure sometimes, or not keep your composure, but just keep your stage control and keep your cool against a Marth like that on Battlefield specifically. You know, you just got to watch your landings so well. It's so easy for him to catch your landings on that stage, and when he does, it's just going to convert into more up airs, into another back air, and then all of a sudden you're off stage, and you're like, wait, how am I at 80? How did this happen? It's just, it's a good counter pick and just a good Marth to boot. And then we're going to stay with the Palutena. Yes, we are switching back to the default one. Mayhaps he just wants to see himself a little bit better in the sun. But,
see what happens, man.
Hey, man, people color counter pick. That's a thing. Like, I remember, I think Orek at that Texas tournament a while back, one of the first Ultimate tournaments, every stage he always switched his color, like, because he knew it was sunset around the time of the tournament, went Gold Peach on Smashville every time. Switched to the green one on Pokemon Stadium to blend in with the green on the floor. People do that. They do things like that for multiple reasons, but we are back to Smashville, and Odyssey not getting the start he wants with an unfortunate SD right there. That is the kind of thing you absolutely hate to see. I mean, you could say every commentator stereotype in the book about it, but it's just because that's the truth right there. And
Another
the
one for the
Mr. E
books.
special with the footstool. That's just, yeah. That's actually that was like the most appropriate thing you could have possibly said about Mr. E's footstool there. For those of you who don't know this, which I'm sure is probably none of you at this point, this man utilizes footstools better than any other Marth, almost any other player in the game, really. Like, he will just, you never want to be below this man at the ledge because he just spaces it properly and just gets that footstool right where you need it, and all of a sudden you don't have a jump off the side right there, and you're down 2 stocks in the first minute of your final winners match against Mr. E. Oh my God! And that is one of the quickest 3 stocks I have ever seen in this top 8. That was 1 second over a minute. Wow. Yeah, you got some really good insights to that match, didn't you?
Man.
I'm sorry. Oh, Mr. E not even letting Hangman get a word in. We were